Hello friends, and welcome back. It's that time again. What time is it, you ask? Well, I'm sure none of you asked that, but it is time for another installment of the Gintama Arc Review series, what I like to refer to here as GARS. This time we're covering part 9 of the series, and that would make this the Mitsuba arc, covering a perfectly concise 4 manga chapters and 2 anime episodes. This arc is the first arc in the series where it'll be a central focus on the Shinsengumi. What kind of focus, you ask? Again, I don't think anyone asked that, but we are going to be focusing on Sogo and Hijikata. So everyone, without any further wait, let's hop into the quite dramatic and very depressing piece of Gintama that is the Okita Mitsuba arc. Right off the bat, I'm immediately hooked by that godly guitar. Every time I hear it, I realize shit is about to get sad, or hilarious depending on the context, but yes, in this case, sad. So, Mitsuba, Sogo's sister, is in town and we learn his personality does a complete 180 after seeing her. Turns out she's more of a mother figure to him than a sister. Makes sense since his parents died at a young age, like most of the Gintama cast. You know what, let's take account. How many characters in Gintama have both of their parents still alive? They don't have to be necessarily still in good terms with them, just how many are still alive? Gintoki? Unknown. Kagura and Kamui? No. Shinpachi and Otai? Also no. Kondo? Unknown. Kozunigata? Even him, I don't... Nope, yeah, they're definitely dead. They're definitely dead. Okay. Someone, come on, someone. I can't think of anyone right now. Katsura? I don't think we know his. Sakamoto? Don't think so. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay. So it's Otsu. Otsu is the only one I can find who has both her parents. There's probably more. You can point it out in the comments if you want. But I think Otsu is like one of the only people in the series, at least of note, who has both of her parents. That is terribly sad. Anyway, while at a restaurant with Mitsuba, Sogo is put on the spot when asked about his friends, to which I guess he just happened to see Gintoki walking by or something. I mean, he very well could have called on Yamazaki or Harada, who were right there, but I suppose they aren't his friends. At least not as much as Gintoki, apparently. The three spend the day together, and I guess most of that time they were just on an anime high or something, because the next time we see him, Gin's wearing a chopper hat and Sogo's got a Shonen Jump bag. Sogo decides to take his leave, and Gintoki stays and chats with Mitsuba just a bit longer. Hijikata then pulls up shortly after, and Mitsuba passes out upon witnessing him, because they are in love. Speaking of love, or maybe not in this case, her fiance, Toma Kuraba, looks extremely similar to a certain Takechi Hanpeita, and is just as much of a terrible person. Maybe even more terrible. I don't know. Flashback time! Actually, I really like how Sorachi structured these recent flashbacks. In the Yagyu arc, we visited Hijikata's past and his first visit to Kondo's dojo, and in the next arc, barring the hard-boiled detective arc, we pick up directly following that, as Sogo is saying how he doesn't like how Kondo is paying more attention to Hijikata than himself. I just adore that chronological order with the flashbacks. That is such a nice touch. Anyway, turns out Mitsuba has a love for spicy food, much like Hitaoji with ketchup and Hijikata with mayo. That is something else to note. Seems like any time a character closely involved with Hijikata is introduced, their taste buds strongly require a overabundance of a specific flavor. Something else to note is Yamazaki seems to have taken to calling Gintoki boss from Sogo. Or maybe he's always done that? I can't remember, actually. In any case, my multitude of random notes aside, throughout the arc, Sogo has this underlying animosity towards Hijikata, which climaxes in a sparring match between the two, initiated by Sogo. During the spar, Sogo continuously has these thoughts. I don't like Hijikata. He always shows up and swipes away everything I hold dear. Hijikata lets him know the black market dealer they've been tracking is indeed Toma Kuroba. Wait, was it Kuroda or Kuroba? Kuraba. I got that really wrong. Okay. Toma Kuraba. Sorry. Don't rush when you're drinking water. It'll spill. Sogo requests for Hijikata to not interfere and let his sister live in blissful ignorance and ignore Toma's actions until her death. But Hijikata Toshiro does not agree. This is the best chance they have at delivering Toma's punishment. Lets him go now, and who knows if they'll ever catch him again. A rage-induced Sogo charges at Hijikata, to which Sogo is denied with a single strike. I do really appreciate this scene, since it poses the audience a question that has no concrete correct answer. It's not black and white. I personally agree with what Hijikata's doing, but what Sogo is saying also makes sense. And it's easy to understand his mindset. This is simply a case of two differing perspectives. Also, now we know what the catalyst is for Sogo's animosity as well, which has admittedly over time become more playful, but he does still attempt very lethally to kill him nonetheless. If you think about it though, none of this was really Hijikata's fault. I mean, sure, with Hijikata being around, Sogo gets far less attention from his sister, and Kondo for that matter. To be honest though, some would say Sogo's actions here are quite childish, which is warranted since he is a child raised without actual parents. Those conditions are bound to mess someone up, and it certainly did here. Especially when the one who raised him as a mother was now reaching her life's conclusion as well. That's got to be unbelievably difficult to stomach. So, Hijikata sets out to arrest Toma alone, since if the higher-ups in the Bakufu found out a relative of Sogo had a fiancé connected to the anti-foreigner faction, Sogo would lose his position in the Shinsengumi. Basically, Hijikata is doing this for Sogo. By the way, I apologize if you hear my furnace, it just turned on. During Sogo's monologue to Gin, we hear a far more mature side of his earlier statement of hating Hijikata because he swipes away everything I hold dear. We hear his understanding of Hijikata's actions and how Hijikata simply desired for everyone's happiness. Gin decides he'll go with Sogo to take down Kuroda. Kuroba? I forget his name again. I'm just gonna go Kuraba. Kuraba sounds right. If it's not, then whatever. Gin decides he'll go with Sogo to take down Kuroba, which sparks a thought within Sogo. Sister, I'm a lucky guy. You don't often meet friends like these in your lifetime, yet I already have 3 of these bad friends in my life. Referencing what Kondo instilled in him earlier, which are, as you can guess, Gintoki, Hijikata, and Kondo. You know what? I bet this is why he didn't grab Yamazaki or Harada earlier. Because they're not one of his true friends, I guess. Maybe? That's a theory, I guess? Sorry, Yamazaki. Guess you don't make the cut for being a friend of Sogo. Very sad. In any case, I continue to hate Toma Kuroba even more with his line, get this, I loved her. As a merchant, I love things that will make me profit, but only as a tool. Really now? That's the villain we're going with? This really does have to be the most generic antagonist Gintama has ever given birth to. I know. He dies just an episode after he's introduced, so not much thought was put into his character. Ironically, he is a storytelling tool, which Sorachi used to its full potential, to incite anger in his viewers. You are supposed to hate Toma, and thinking about it like that, I can hardly mark this arc down a point for Toma's existence. Sometimes characters can be douchebags just because they are douchebags. As Toma's forces have Hijikata surrounded, he actually manages to light his lighter during the rain somehow, and then, yes, the Shinsengumi backup arrives just in the nick of time to aid Hijikata. Toma's ass gets, well, okay, first, Sogo slices his car in two, to which it explodes, brutally murdering Toma Kuroba. That is, if the initial strike didn't already cut him in two. Too quick of a death for this asshole in my opinion, but oh well. After that, Sogo rushes back to the ICU where he manages to hear Mitsuba's dying words, stating she's proud to have him as her little brother. It's here where Sogo has this expression of what I can only describe as utter sadness. Taking in the words of his parental figure as the machine outputs a flat line, tears stream down this usually energetic sadist's face, and he grasps at her lifeless hand, his mind completely shattering, finalizing the Mitsuba Okita arc. The main thing I disliked about this arc was Kuroba, or whatever his name was. He was just incredibly boring and quite generic. I understand you're not supposed to like him, and you're probably supposed to hate him, but I feel like at least have an interesting design. Like, who's gonna look back on Kuroba and think, you know what, that was a good villain. That was a good antagonist. I love Kuroba. No one's gonna say that. Honestly, kinda led me to be less invested in this story overall, but besides that, I can't really find much else to criticize. With everything prior being taken into consideration, I believe the Okita Mitsuba arc deserves a nice and solid 8 out of 10. And with that, my friends, I believe it's safe to wrap up this arc review. If you enjoyed, drop a like and maybe a subscribe. And if you disliked, make sure to drop a dislike and leave a mean comment below. I've been Kazu Trash, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye everyone, have a good day.